All right, Coach, we're good to go.
Hey, guys, good to be here again, and looking forward to seeing everybody at camp. And I just know that it's worth your time. If you're still thinking about it, you also can do the consultant thing and get us out there to try to help you. If it's one-on-one, whatever you need, we'll be ready to help you. It won't be a very long presentation tonight because we're just rebuffing the ideas of what protections we need and some of the changes we have going on right now. I posted Rio Lobo protection. You know, Rio Lobo started out as a true slide protection, turn the end man on the line of scrimmage loose, the back takes him, quarterback gets rid of the ball really fast. Rio Lobo is now evolving, and like Drew said, there's only 2 states in the country that play by the NCAA rules, and that's Massachusetts and Texas. Everybody else plays federation rules where you can't cut below the waist. So some of these things that UCLA is doing now directly correspond to what you guys are doing, what you need to do to make an adjustment. Instead of putting that back, having to take a defensive end that might be 230, 240 pounds in high school above the waist, we're just going to match up the big guy on the backside and then slide the protection. And basically what we're talking about when we do that is ram lion protection, okay? So Rio Lobo has turned, and we're going to keep the word Rio Lobo, and we're going to start to move away from talking about ram and lion protection because Rio Lobo now will encompass part of that, okay? So how do we do Rio Lobo when we're vertical setting? All right, well, it's simple. You know, vertical set's a 4-step drop, and we're trying to get toes over toes, nose over nose, you know, nose slightly inside their nose, actually, so we keep inside leverage. We're just going to cover them up in 2 steps. It's fast and furious, and what will happen now is the back, if it's a Rio protection and we're sliding right, first uncovered lineman starts to slide, and the back is going to look backside backer to edge. Okay, so he's on the scan away from the Rio. He goes left, and he's got the backside linebacker to outside the tackle. And we're just going to fit him in against a guy his size a little better. So we're going to show you older footage of the old Rio Lobo, but we're going to talk you through how we lock that backside tackle on. So basically, the way we did Rio Lobo was shuffle hard 2 steps inside, but if you were covered, you had to post. Like if you had a 3 technique, you would post with your outside arm and slide to your gap. We were trying to slow the free shot where that guy didn't run straight up the field waiting for the outside offensive player to come down and close the gap. So basically now what we're telling you is we're covering up, but we're using 2 steps, 1, 2, and we're trying to get our toes over and into our gap, toes over their toes, and we're getting in a fist fight as fast as we can, as firm as we can on the line of scrimmage, all right? And this is probably just, as you see how this will evolve, some coaches have already done it. Like Drew said, he had already made that adjustment at Ramapo, and now you'll see UCLA starting to do it, and we'll talk you through it. So I just wanted to show you guys the sheet. It's on our website, the Rio Lobo protection, turn to the first defender, toward the call. It's a gap slide protection is all it's been. And the backside tackle now will lock on, and the back will scan backside backer to edge. So what we'll do here, we're going to go back to our huddle account, and I pulled up a bunch of Rio Lobos, and we'll kind of talk you through it. You know, we can look at what the defense is here. Let me just make sure. Okay, we got an over defense. I'm going to blow this up, blow the screen up, and we'll talk through it. Okay, we got a 4-man front, okay? Now, here we go. The back is going, boom, fitting to our side over here. So now the back is just going to scan inside backer to edge. We're covered, and now the slide will turn away. These 3 are covered by these 3 here. 1, 2, 3. The back will step in, edge to edge, inside backer to edge, and then he'll release in the route. It's just Rio protection. Ball's out fast. Now you can tell here they do a pretty good job at covering it up. You got a nice 3-yard cushion, and that's why we're firm in the front. That's what we're looking for right there to get rid of the ball. So as we look at this, and we'll rewind it again. Oop, let's erase that.
Hey, Coach, we got our first questions in. I'm going to throw them out as we go, okay, Coach? So when vertical setting, does the guard ever dual read and use a molly-like technique to block the defender on the outside tackle?
Molly is Ron Lou protection only.
Okay.
This is a slide protection, okay? So basically we're saying it's big on big right here, and the slide starts here. The right guard in this protection right here, I'm trying to erase that. Okay. I'm the right guard. He would post the inside shade, but he's looking at the backer, right? Because it's 4 down to the will, the way we talk about ram line, and that's basically what we're talking about here. We call it Rio Lobo, but because we've eliminated ram lion now. So here start the first uncovered lineman is the center. He starts the slide. He slides to the right, okay? 2 steps. 1, 2. He's over. Now, he's got a post, so he's going to step with his outside foot and reset with the inside foot. He's going to hold point. He looks at the will. The will doesn't come. He gets outside and gets aggressive. We get 2 right there. The center covers him up. And then we're firm right here. 2 steps. So he would vertical 1, 2. He'd be setting right there at the new line of scrimmage. I hope that explains that question. Fire them away as we go.
Yeah, what's the depth the O-line is getting on the 2-step vertical set, they say?
No more than a yard. It's too fast. Boom, boom. All we're trying to do is slide and cover them up. We don't want depth because this guy's catching, ripping, and throwing, right? So we've got to set our pocket in front of him. He sets up at 5. If we get a yard deep, there's 4 yards to work with. It gives me 1 yard cushion to absorb a blow and get the ball out. Good questions. Go to the next one. I had the end zone. Sorry, we'll make sure we get the end zone in this one here. Boom. Okay, only difference now is what we're telling you is because of what you guys have to do, he's now locked on, which means if he's locked on, he's covered, he's locked on. Slide starts here. Slide, post and slide, boom, slide. Triangles right here. He's the indicator. He's the will. He's got edge to edge. He doesn't come. He comes outside right now and looks for pressure. We're trying to get our toes over their toes so we can absorb the blow and cover him up. And even if we got pushed back, he's got to go through us. No free shot on the quarterback. Like that. Rewind that back. Okay, let's look at the end zone. Now, I don't think there's one guy on this webinar right now that likes that matchup, right? That's why we fixed it. That's why we've got it now where we're going to keep our big on our big. He'll cover it up. I'm going to draw better because I'm going to show you what the steps look like. 1, 2. We know he's coming. We've got him covered up. He'd go straight back. 1, 2. He's covered up. Okay? Now the slide starts with the first uncovered lineman. That's him. He's sliding over. 1, 2. Okay? He's coming straight back in his cylinder, posting his inside hand. His eyes are looking at the will. He comes straight back. 1, 2. He's coming for you and catch and rip and get the ball out. So the only thing I didn't like how I drew was the center right there. I'm going to just show you how it looked. He goes 1, 2, and he's trying to absorb it knowing that he's got his body to protect him right there. Okay? Boom. Covering him up. Firm protection. We want to give a yard. Okay? I hope that's a good picture. We're going to keep rolling because I think a picture's worth a million words.
It is, Coach.
I got different fronts in here, too. I made sure I got a whole bunch of different looks for us.
Cool. So when is Rio Lobo used rather than Ron Lou?
Rio Lobo is our 3-step. It's all the 90 stuff.
Got it. Okay.
Okay? And Ron Lou is all your drop back. So Rio Lobo is our quick game. Now, there's another way you can use Rio Lobo. If I'm getting hammered with blitzes, and I've adjusted in the middle of a game and used Rio Lobo trying to get maybe a curl or a dig off, you know what I mean, 10-yard route, because I can't handle the pressure inside, all right? Mm-hmm. Remember, all we've done with Rio Lobo now is turned it into ram line. This is ram protection, right? The line goes right. We're just shortening, instead of a 4-step drop, we're just in our cylinders. We're playing fast, covering them up quick, and he's scanning. No backer in here. He's got pressure outside, right? Mm-hmm. So it's all we've turned it into, and this slide starts with the uncovered lineman. Boom. Now, the key is this guy. If you want to know the key to all the protections, he's got an uncovered look. He's coming to cover him up. He stays in his cylinder. What happens in high school all the time is, okay, he thinks he slide, he thinks he slide, he thinks he slide. Well, that guy's got a hell of a shot to getting over the top of the guy with the ball in his hand. All right, so we're not going to let that happen. He stays in his cylinders. He keeps his body, but his eyes never look at the down lineman. He is the indicator. He is the indicator. He tells me everything I need to know. If he drops, now I'm going to go into the game knowing this is the beast. You're on an island, dude. You're going to handle that. If that guy drops, I'm coming back and helping on this guy. We're going to put 2 on the better player. All right? But he also has the eyes to see this. If he's wide, I don't feel this threat right now. I think everybody's with me. He's awfully wide, right? That's an indicator. But if he had been right here, I'm looking at squeeze and scrape. So as soon as he comes, I abort now. It's 1-2, and I'm going to get my eyes out here. He went. I trigger with him because I know he went there. Somebody's coming inside. He'll stay in his box, and he'll just take that off outside as it comes. He'll ride. This right tackle will ride this guy as long as he can. Now we see that go. He will bump, and it should come off just like that. Boom.
What if the Mike shoots the A gap on the center?
The Mike right here?
Yeah.
If he shot the A gap on the center, well, they'd have to do that. Okay. All right? So that's why he stays in his cylinder. If he crosses his face and the indicator comes, these are great questions, okay? This is why I teach you the vertical set, all right? And I hope everybody hears that. If I'm getting depth, even if it's 1 yard, okay, that guy triggers. I got 1 step in the ground. I get my 2nd step down quick. As soon as he triggers, I'm following. I'm back on that guy heavy. Now here comes this guy because he's going back. So I'm in a great position to cover my guy up. My center's eyes come over. If that guy runs around him, dude, he knows there's something coming. He sits right in the hole, picks it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will interject and tell everybody, if you've not been in, we've updated the position play on the website for O-line. We've taken Coach Peavy's stuff and packaged it up in there, and there's about 2 hours on vertical setting. So make sure you guys get in there and take a look at that. It's very in-depth.
The guys who have never vertical set it, I'm just going to tell you something. I am old school. I was a wishbone guy, all right? I was a real Lobo wishbone guy because, Nate, that's what we did, right?
Yep, that's what we did.
Protection, all right?
Yep.
Or you fired out and had to hit the ground before the ball came out. I mean, so I'm a dinosaur when it comes to this. I converted to this because I had some really crappy players at William Patterson. You know what that is, right, Drew?
Absolutely.
All right. And I had less players, right? These guys right here at Rowan, when I played those guys, transferred from Maryland, okay? Transferred from Rutgers. Transferred from Temple. Guess what I had? I had Willie P. specials, all right? They couldn't match up, all right?
Coach, you got to get out and recruit.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, Nate, about recruiting. I was in the streets of Patterson. How safe was I, Drew? Not very safe. At 11 o'clock at night, I was the only white guy on the street hanging out, trying to get kids that never went to college because I could get them into school. So I did my best, I promise. So I was I'm telling you, I took a guy named Lou Mathis with me. You know Lou, Drew?
I do. Yes, I do.
He's a piece of work, isn't he? He brought me on to some great players that have played before, and I was working to get them in. So that's kind of what we were doing. So here's the deal. If you have lesser players, you can't be any better coach. You can't go grow them. So you better have a new answer in the pile. So here's what happens. I realize this. If I could get depth, even if that guy would push me straight back, I had a shot at getting that ball out. All right? What happens when you're a firm set team like the NFL, if that guy does that move right here, that is a booger bear. You can't do that with a lesser athlete. So movement killed us, all right? So here's what I said. Okay, well, let's back up away from the movement. Boy, that helped me a bunch. It gave me a chance to get the ball out. I had to make sure he took a drop, you know what I mean, to get back and keep my cushion, because sometimes I didn't get enough depth. But I now gave my guys a chance by getting depth and covering them up. It goes back to the presentation, the guys who saw me at any clinic this year. Number one cause of sacks. What is it? The NFL study says didn't cover him up. Number one cause is they let that guy get on the edge because I couldn't get my toes over his toes. That's the number one cause. Number two, missed assignments. Well, guess what? When I was at Willie P., what else did I have? I just told you where I got my players. They didn't go to college. I got them off the streets of Patterson. So they weren't football textbook. They weren't the smartest guys. They were great kids and great football players. So I had to have a scheme. When my next job, I said, I'll never let that crap happen to me again. So this is how I fell into all this stuff. You know what I mean? And it was an accident because I used to be a kick set guy, okay? Number one here's a booger. He moves here. He comes here. That stunt right there. That's a tough stunt, okay? If you're teaching kick set, you're teaching to cover him up. He's getting depth, and they're not playing on the same plane. Everybody with me on that? Because I try to cover him, playing the NFL style. He gets depth. The only answer I got is to mirror that back to the inside. Well, that looks stupid. I tried that at Rhode Island. I was a bad coach. But guess what? When I got these two guys on the same plane, all right, and I'm covering him up and he's working away from me, I smelled a rat. He had time to bang it back, and I covered him up again. Lesser players can cover guys up. They might get driven, but guess what? He ain't getting stroked. Every time he gets hit, if I get 3 of those on him, we're in trouble, right? 3 strikes, you're out. So we don't want him hit. That was my number one goal. Next play.
All right, Coach. What if the Mike shoots the opposite A gap?
You want me to go back? I'll go back.
Yeah.
What if the Mike goes back to where he goes? Okay. If he goes from there to there?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I don't know. That's the question. I got that question in here, so
right.
Somebody else.
Let's go through it. 1, 2, 3. Have 1, 2, 3. For him to go there, he's going to avoid. Okay? So he's coming back. He sets. He's looking at that guy. He just slides with him and covers him up.
Okay.
These three guys, 1, 2, 3, have 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, guess what? What happens in a stunt is if he goes here and he goes there. He was 1, he was 2. When he comes inside, he now becomes 1, and he became 2. And he's 3. Everybody with me? So we set 1, 2, 3. It's simple. If he goes and wants to shake the ref's hand, guess what? That center's going to sit right there and wait for him to come forward.
All right, the next one was how do you anchor when taking 2 vertical sets? How do you coach it up?
Because remember, the vertical set is a vertical drift. Okay, let's go. We'll get to the end zone of this one right here. Let's go to the end zone. Okay. Almost the same look. They just went over instead of under. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna go 1, 2. I'm in cement. I got my outside foot down. You can't ask for a better thing than that. My foot's in concrete right there. I'm setting my wedge right there. Right when that second step down is as deep as I want to be. So I went 1, 2. Vertical set means move the inside set first. It doesn't mean you're coming straight back here. Because the thing about a vertical set is there's a vertical drift. If you watch the webinar or the present whiteboards I've done, all protection starts with a cylinder. These guys all have a cylinder, okay? I think everybody understands what I'm talking about right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now here's the thing. Cylinders move. All right, my cylinder has to come over here to cover that guy up. So now my cylinder is here. Okay, my cylinder moved. I'm trying to get in a position where I can cover him up. Okay, now this guy's cylinder doesn't move. He's coming straight back because his cylinder moved. So he can get in a position to help the center. His cylinder moves. We play in cylinders, man. One foot's always in the cylinder until I got to go. So even though this is my original cylinder, watch this. This is my original cylinder. Everybody get me? I'm going to move this foot first. So I go 1, and my second foot moves outside the cylinder because I'm trying to get in a position to cover him up. Now, we know this guy's not rushing like this because he would run into the goalpost. What we know is he's trying to get the edge to get to what? The goose with the golden egg, okay? He's trying to get the edge. My job is to get in a position that I can best cover him up, and when he turns, I center him up. I'm in a great position because I moved my cylinder. He's coming there. All right? He stayed square. Now, here's the deal with the center. The slide starts with the first uncovered lineman. There's the slide. He's coming inside. We've got 1, 2, 3, and he's coming over for his guy. Now, if one drops, the center now knows who is the most dangerous guy. Is this guy the best football player, or is this? I'll know going into the game. I'm going to tell him, hey, listen, stay in your cylinder as long as you can, but I know the right guard can come over and cover him, and I want you working to the 3 technique because that guy's a bear. So we'll stay in our cylinder, and then we're going to leave. As soon as he leaves, I can leave. Okay, if he sits, I'll stay in my cylinder and wait because I'm not sure, am I getting this? If that happens, and if I'm the center, my guy triggers, my eyes trigger with him. They went outside. Here he comes. I'll bump him. Then he'll bump him, and we stay firm. That make sense?
It does. And we got a lot of questions, Coach, so I hope you're okay if I just keep throwing them out.
Yeah, fire away, man.
The next one's a little long. Let me read through it so you have the whole shot of it. It says, Ron Liu blocking rules against a 4-2 box with weak side linebacker in a walk alignment and 3-3, and then they would also like to see a 3-3 stack with a walk alignment. And here's what they say. The rules in the ASU playbook say...
Let me just tell whoever wrote that question. Are you married? I got everything covered here. I'm going to get to the 3-3 stack and the 3-2. I told you I have every front.
Cool.
But I got to be able to get through one without any questions before I can move to the next one. All right, here we go. I got 2 linebackers. It's a 4-2 front. Amazing.
That's why I'm brought it up.
All right, so stay with me. I told you, I got 50 fronts. I got everything in here.
Cool.
He had the 4-2 front. Where do you have the weak backer?
He had in a walk alignment.
This right here? That's where you had him. Or do you have him on the other side?
Coach Boyd, where'd you have that your weak side? Hey, Coach Boyd, you there? You on your mic? No, he's not answering.
Coach Boyd, going to the next one. We'll get you in a minute.
All right.
You might see a new front. Okay. Guess what? Coach Boyd, look at that. 3-3 stack right there, baby. 3-2, actually. They slid it. All right, here we go. So we're going to use the same concept. Tackles on. The backer will fill edge to edge. Okay? And the slide starts with the first uncovered lineman. So now I got 4 for 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? We know. Everybody see that right there? That's exactly what happens. We wad it up, ball's out. Coach Sassman, I know you're impressed that I had a 3-3 stack after that call right there, buddy. Here we go.
Just got to stay with Jack.
Hey, the old saying is sleep at night. I'm on fire right now, baby. Here we go. Look, this is why I love a vertical set. He's cheated. I smell a rat. I got my first step inside. I'm covering him up. Boom. All right? He's looking for anything in here to edge. Slide starts with him. He takes half a man, but guess where his eyes are, dudes? They're over here. Okay? These two got these two. These two got these two. These two got these two. Okay? Not a very good line. I'm going to fix that for you. But basically, I'm telling you, he's uncovered. He's sliding hard. He went 1 to his crotch, 2 over. He's in a 4-eye. I smell a rat. I got 1 back, 2 back. I stayed in my cylinder because I'm covered. But guess what? I'm looking at that backer right there if I'm these two guys, because that guy tells me what's going to happen. If he comes, he aborts, and he goes there, and he comes over and goes there. Okay? If he does that, I got him covered. I come back with him. Boom, I'm setting the trap. I'm sitting in the hole. All right, now we got a stacked situation here. I stayed in my cylinder. My first step's there. My second step's there because I'm sliding to the Rio. I'm coming over hard. All right, but guess who's the indicator? He is. He goes there. He goes there. I got him covered. I got him covered. The backers tell you the story. Okay? If he drops, boom, guess what? I got work. He's by himself. I got this guy free to go whatever guy I want to go to. He can go here or here. Okay? I'm going to help the guy that needs the help. Against a 4-eye, I'd be more likely to help him here, though, just so you know. Because I got a slide coming this way, and I got a back that can fill gap to gap. And he's got here. Boom. All right? Make sense?
Yep. Coach, would you use Rio Lobo for Play Action Pro?
Well, basically, that's what I told you in the beginning, and I know that's a good question because the words are a little different. But Act Ram, Act Lion, as we evolve with this, we're going to take Ram and Lion out, and we're going to start using 812 and 813. But Rio Lobo is now Act Ram, Act Lion. That's basically what's happening. And it's all due to what Drew said. Drew said before you guys all got on, we used to leave that guy for the back. I want a big on a big. I learned that in the NFL. Big on big. That's all we tried to do in protections, okay? We try to put our big guys on their big guys. We try to put backs on backers, all right? And if we felt there was a mismatch, then we changed the protection. You know what I mean? If this was Andre Tippett, guess what? We're sliding Andre Tippett every time because that guy was a beast when I played, or Lawrence Taylor, or whoever. So we want bigs on bigs, and we just decided, like when in the college, you can cut that guy. But even if you can, it should be a changeup. If that guy is a great player, all right, here's what I did against a great player. The first 4 plays, that guy was going to get hit 4 different ways. So I might run slice, whack him that way, okay? I just trapped him. I just send everybody over and I sliced him, okay? The next time I might run, I'd call it slip protection, okay? Act slip. So I'd go here, 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 and that's how I'd get him. I got him 1 time. The next time, we could go Lobo, okay? If we did the old Lobo, I would do this, and I would put him on, all right? The next time I did something, I would set him straight back, and I'd big on big him, all right? And the next time, I might bring him in motion, and I might whack him 1 time. I'm going to slow the best player in the field down. And if that guy was a stud, I'm not going to let him tee off on my lesser guy. That's just not what I did, ever. I had to take his stinger off. If he was the best player, he was going to get hit. He might get optioned. He might get keyed, all right? He might get ISO'd. I got a lot of different ways to control different guys. But you have to have a package that tells you how you're going to take the best player out of the game. You can't line up and say, oh, my man's going to whoop him. That ain't going to happen. And then basically we learned that lesson with Noel against Stanford, all right? His first game, he tried to zone block. And you saw the results. Didn't even rush for 100 yards. Second time, he gap blocked them. And guess what? He ran the crap out of the football and gave himself a chance to win the game. All right? So you got to have 2 ways to skin the cat. That's all. And the same thing with protection. All right? It'd be a very easy adjustment for me to say the very first Lobo, I'm going to slide it, and I'm just going to put my back on him. And then after that, guys, we're just going to lock up and do our thing, okay? But I just want him to know I can do that. There's no harm, no foul in that thing. But if that guy just keeps teeing off every time I'm in shotgun and it's a pass situation, I'm not going to win very many of those. So that's how I look at it. So act ram and act lion basically is Rio Lobo. Okay, new front. Okay, still in the three-man family. That's a 4-1 right there. Okay, 4-2 box again. Okay, we already had that. If we're in Lobo, right, he's on, he slides, he slides, he slides, he slides. No big deal. If we were in Rio, okay, he now is on that guy. He's there, right? He's checking inside, backer to edge. He's got him. He stays in his cylinder. He's the indicator. Bam. He drops. I look for work. He comes, I look to help out that to slide it over. Pretty simple stuff. The whole idea of playing fast is keep it simple, right? So by getting rid of tying Rio Lobo into act ram, act lion is really good for us.
You know, I was thinking, Jack, too, while we're doing this, when we do that clinic on June 27th at Widener, we can do walkthroughs with the O-line guys on all this.
Yeah, I'd love to have walkthrough with O-line coaches. I think it's really good.
And then we'll film it and we'll put it up.
And what was the name of that coach that asked me about the fronts? Coach Doug?
Doug.
Sorry, I'm muted talking to myself back here. It was Coach Boyd. It was Coach Boyd.
Where's he from?
Coach Boyd is, let me think here for a second. Not 100% sure.
I hope he can come to the clinic. That's what I was going to say, because Nate, what we need to do, too, is try to have a blitz book printed up for these guys at the clinic.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
we'll walk through the blitz book. We're just going to walk through blitzes when we do the protections at a clinic. So
yeah,
hopefully Coach can come to that.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's a long drive from him from Hawaii. So.
Oh, he's from Hawaii?
Yeah, Coach Boyd's in Hawaii. Jack, you may just have to go out there and help him.
I'm going to volunteer to go help Coach Boyd anytime without my wife that he will take me.
You're going to trade him Mai Tais for that one?
All right, good. Hey, I do want Drew to get a chance to present a little bit on what they did at Ramapo.
Go ahead, Drew. Whatever you got. Drew can go.
Yeah, let's let Drew go, and then we'll just finish up with some Q&A.
All right, hang on, Coach.
Doug, you want to pop that over to my screen?
Yep, it's ready for you, Coach. You should be able to click it.
And as Jack was saying, the Ram Lion protection, or Rio Lobo, whatever you want to call it, for us, that's the base. That was our base look. We used the Ram and Lion scheme to block any drop back pass out of our 2x2 formation. We changed the name, gave it another R&L name so the kids would know it was quick game in the 90s, and now our guys just set firmer, but it was still Ram Lion scheme. We used the Ram Lion scheme for our act protection, and we used the Ram Lion scheme for our hustle protection, which is our stretch play action. So for us, we got a ton out of Ram and Lion. And again, Ram and Lion really is exactly what Jack talked about in terms of Rio and Lobo. So we use it when we introduced it to our kids, we introduced it for the drop back game out of our 2x2 formation. For us, it's a slide protection from the first uncovered center or backside guard. And Ram and Lion, for us, always has the back on a dual read. The quarterback would call the protection away from the back. The back would align based on pass route. But our general rule is in trio, he's away from the trips, and in dual, he's to the Y side. We did it from 4-down perspective. We're going to sort it out from the center to the front side versus a 3-down. It was from the backside guard. We asked our backside guard to make a 3-call or a 4-call based on whether he was covered or uncovered, just so we would know how many guys were involved in the slide. And then finally, we all talk to our kids about something we call the pizza principle. And that's how we bump our twists and cross blitzes. Basically tell them if somebody takes a piece of your pizza, you're going to take theirs. So that's our bump concept with the Ram and Lion protection. So we break down fronts based on on 4-3, which we call ace, Okie, which is a 3-down look, and then even, which is the 4-2 look. So in the upper left-hand corner, and again, this is basically exactly what Jack covered. We have a 3-man slide against a single middle linebacker or a 4-3 look. The center's got the A-gap. The guard's going to give presence to the A-gap with his eyes in the B, and then the tackle's got the C-gap rusher. From there, our tailback's going to have a dual read, inside linebacker to outside linebacker, and we're big on the backside. So if this is ram protection, a 3-man slide to the right, big on big to the left, back has the dual read. One of the things that was good for us this year with our tackles up in a 2-point stance, they were able to see what was going on. So anytime, we were covered as an offensive tackle and we had an edge blitz showing, okay, we would make an alert call. And that we did that in our Zorro game if you're on the front side. We did that on our shark game if you're on the front side. Whenever you had an edge blitz, you would make an alert call. And now the center would answer east, and now each of these guys would know, hey, we're expecting an edge blitz. We're expecting somebody to cross face and get in your inside gap. And again, anytime we got the east call, the tailback would know he would still have his dual read. And our quarterback knew if this was a drop-back game, if both of these guys came, he would be hot, all right? But now we would expect them to show a blitz, probably be in a zero coverage, but he would know he'd have to get the ball off quickly if both guys came on the blitz. When we saw the 3-down front, which we call Okie, now the backside guard on ram makes a 4 call. It's a 4-man slide, and now the left guard and center are reading nose to this Okie backer, and the right guard and the right tackle are reading tackle to outside linebacker. And again, the back has the dual read situation there. Front side edge pressure, front side tackle's covered. Now he's going to make that alert call. The center answers east, and we get our 4-man slide. And again, the back has his dual read. So we did exactly the same thing that Jack is doing. We did it from without a vertical set. Our guys were a kick slide team because that was what our offensive line coach was most comfortable with teaching. And, he does a great job with that. That's the system he played under, and he just felt that was his comfort level, and we worked very hard at it. Just switched to the end zone system last year. That's what our guys had been doing for 4 years. We had an all-senior offensive line, so we didn't make the change to the vertical set, although, when you hear Jack present it, you see what a great job he does with it and how much sense it makes.
Right there, Drew, and Noel's the same way. If your guys are comfortable, I just know the spring, when you have spring ball, it's a great time to get to try to introduce some of it, you know what I mean, and see what they can do. It's hard to do otherwise, I would say.
Absolutely.
That's what I was
spring
going to say.
And summer, you've got to use that time.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, Drew, if you could, guys are looking at this, and I know there's colleges using this exact same protection, but you don't have spring football. So kind of, take us through. Are you guys doing like O-line, school in like Feb, March, April, and then getting out on the field in summer and before you even start your fall camp?
New Jersey rules, we cannot do any football with our kids till after June 9th. So we'll basically be a 2-day-a-week practice team from June 9th on. And we get it taught. We're out there 2 days a week from June 9th. We have a week of a camp in the middle of the summer for our kids. We're in there 5 days, and then we have a dead period for a week, and then we report to training camp. So we're able to get it done in that time period. For us, it's worked pretty well.
Do you guys do blitz pickup during your practice sessions?
Every day. We got to ram and lion protection was usually on our Tuesday practices, and then Ron and Lou was more on our Wednesday practices. So we got introduced and taught because we're throwing dual passing game on a Tuesday. We're throwing our trio passing game on a Wednesday. So that's how we broke it down. Monday we'd spend a little more time on screens and any special game plan stuff we're expecting on a Monday, and we kind of review it all on Thursday in our pregame walkthrough.
Drew, Ramapo High School is not paying you enough.
You're damn right.
All right, Doug, what's the next questions?
Let's see here.
Any questions coming out for Drew's part of it?
No, I didn't see any come through during Drew's. I did see Coach Aveni's asking if there's you guys could give some coaching detail points on techniques used in other sets, like things like you be extra firm on 90 passes, stuff like that. I will say, Coach Aveni, if you do drop in, I don't know if you looked at some of the position-specific stuff that we have for O-line, but like I said, last week we just added a couple of items to that that'll go over a lot of it. Coach Peavy did a great job of speaking specifically on quite a few. I'm not sure if just on 90 he talked, but he has quite a few. So he said he's seen it. So Coach Peavy, so maybe you can help us out for coaching points on play action specifically. Maybe what technique should they be using?
Is more aggressive than Rio Lobo because it's not a slide now. You know what I mean? It's not it's no vertical part to it. You know what I mean? Rio Lobo we're showing our hand. We're passing the football. So there's a run fit, and then you pull out of it. So it's like almost like a jump set. And it's exactly the same as Rio Lobo. It couldn't be any except there's a ball fake to the back. You know what I mean? We just got to we have to have low hats. Safeties read low hats. Hats are down, and then it all fits, you know. So it's really the only difference when we say act ram, which really, like Noel told me to tell everybody, he wished they'd start saying 8-12 and 8-13 because he doesn't want it to even sound like a protection when it's got a run feel to it.
Okay.
All right, we would call that, Jack. No, so if we're going act ram, we would just call that act even for us, and our linemen would know that would be this diagram here. It's act even. The center's aggressive in the A gap, the guard's aggressive in the B, and the back is taking his handoff fake, and then he's reading it like it's a cutback zone play. He's got his dual read will, you know, inside out, whatever you call those linebackers, and that works pretty well for us. And you can be real aggressive on the front side with that.
Noel's using, you know, hustle even and odd too. You know what I mean? That's how he's doing that too. He's trying to get it in his play action. He's just looking for some more numbers. He would call hustle 9-12, 9-13.
Right. If we were going to go hustle odd, we were going to fake the stretch to the left. Our guys know that left stretch, hustle odd, is ram protection. So now the tailback is taking his fake across, and now he's in good position to read inside, outside backer on the stretch fake. So, again, we use ram. You know, you got ram protection basically being used on your hustle, on your act, and on your 2-and-2 drop back and your quick game.
That's good.
All right, the other question we had.
You draw these slides up, and you have some guy on your team that's technologically savvy there.
This was how I spent my summer vacation.
I'm telling you, man, Drew is about 2 levels below where he should be coaching. I mean, that guy could be in the pros.
Good stuff, man. It's good
That is
stuff.
good stuff. That's good stuff, Drew. That's why you won it all, bro.
So here's another question that came in. We've got 2 more coming in here. So who we have here? Coach Campbell.
Hey, Drew, what
Coach
did you use for your playbook? Playmaker Pro?
I have an old version of Playmaker Pro that we use, and then we copy the Playmaker Pro over to. It takes a few steps, and Bobby Acosta and I went over this, and he helped me out with a little bit too. But we take it from Playmaker to PowerPoint, and then we put the PowerPoints up on Huddle. So now all our kids have the playbook on Huddle. That's how they view the playbook. We didn't give out paper playbooks this year.
Yeah, and the colleges aren't anymore either. That's awesome. Drew, hey, how many hours do you think you spent last summer since you bought the system, you know, working on it?
Oh boy, a couple hundred. I mean, we spent a lot of time, and you know,
Yeah.
it's all there in the system for you. But for it to make sense to me, it took a lot of time, and we looked at it, you know, every which way to get it figured out and make it work for our kids.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured a couple hundred hours because you know it cold. All right, Doug, what's the next question?
So, Coach, on a poker call, how is back asked to read from call to backside? Sorry.
Poker calls 5-0 box, man. Back's got edge to edge.
Okay. then Coach Peltier is asking us for examples against the 10-1. What would you guys do against the 10-1?
Laugh.
Laugh.
Throw it deep.
Throw it deep.
Man-to-man. High school man-to-man. Good luck, Duck. Keep it in front of you,
Find
dude.
one of your guys. Find one of your guys who's better than their guys, and that's the guy who's
Amen.
hitting the ball.
I like that.
Nate, do we want to hit a little bit of Ron Lou?
Hey, Nate. Check that out.
Hey, to answer that question, though, the 10-1 system, the Texas 10 or whatever, that's the old wide tackle gap 8 crap that Georgia ran, I think. So it's just a 4-4 box. You know what I mean? They're just walking on backers. So that doesn't really affect me. The only thing you can get out of that is a squeeze call, which does force the back onto the defensive end to that side of the squeeze. So pressure, if you're calling plays and you're afraid of pressure, you need to go coach defense and pressure people, because to me that's what it's all about. The guys that can beat blitzes and have the answers is how you win football games. The big football games. There's a lot of coaches that don't, but
yeah, Jack, I'll pass on your kind words to our comrades at the Texas 10 coaching school. I don't think you're going to be I don't think you're going to be invited to their clinic.
why? I'm an offensive guy. I'm not supposed to give them any honor and praise.
Okay, not part of championship. Okay, I understand. Jack's out for himself. All right, Doug, what's the next one?
We brought up Ron Lou. People are calling for it now.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go through Ron Lou.
You got it.
So let's do.
All right. For us, we use the Ron and Lou in a 3-by-1 set. We consider it a man scheme that converts the slide versus certain fronts or with an alert call. And again, that's because we're a Molly team, and I know Jack is vertical set and keying on the inside backer, and I'll show the diagrams and we can show both ways to do that. Generally, it's a call protection to the 3 receiver side and the back aligns away from the call. This is how we taught our guys. So in our trio, the back is away from the trio, so we're always sliding the protection to the trio here.
Yeah, to the trips, yeah. It's a dual read to the trip side.
Dual read to the trip side. The offensive line has the dual read now instead of the back. The tailback usually has a single read, and if we get an alert, we'll have him scan both sides. Versus the 4 down, Ron and Lou is exactly the same as Ram and Lion for us. Against a 4 down, a 4-2 look, it's exactly the same. Against a 3 down is where it changes, or a 4-1 look is where it changes. And at Ramapo, we keep that pizza principle where we're going to exchange bumps and, we're going to exchange all the twists and cross blitzes. So if we got an ace front, which you have up here in the, a single 4-1 look, the back's now got the single read on the linebacker to his side, and now the offensive line has the dual read to the trio side, because we want to put the dual read to where the quarterback is looking. All right, and that's the key point. That's why we feel like we need Ram and Lion and Ron and Lou, is because now we want to make sure that the dual read, if they bring both guys, the free guy is coming off of where the quarterback is looking, which is to the trio side. So at Ramapo, we asked the center to Molly. All right, he's going to take a vertical set as he's looking at the mic. If the mic drops, he's going to head out and block that Sam linebacker. All right. If the mic were to come, we'd step up on the mic and we'd let the Sam go free. Jack, you want to talk through how you would handle that with your vertical set?
Yeah, basically, and I've done exactly what Drew's doing, so there's no problem with that protection. But I found it easier when I was bringing. I'm just going to draw on here a little bit.
Yep, hang on one second. I'm switching over to you right now, Coach.
All right. Oh, I can't use Drew's slide then, can I?
No, just click. No, you can't.
That's okay.
All right.
That's a technology flaw, Doug. That's -1 point.
Oh man, hey, you think Doug's a geek?
I
You
love
think Doug's
Doug.
a geek? We were on the phone today with these guys that are going to make our e-clinics even way better. and this guy kept calling himself a sales engineer tier 2. And I said, dude, you're just a super geek. Just get it working so that the video will never be choppy again when we show it on e-clinics.
Basically, Drew had a 4-man front. We got 2 1s here. That's okay to just use this picture, though. All right, and just for purposes, so it said, Drew, didn't you have the back on the left?
Right, I have the back on the left.
Yeah, let's just say this is the
I can draw
back.
this picture, Jack, for you if you'd like. I'll draw what you're saying.
On yours? Oh, yeah. I'm okay. I think this will work for right now. Just pretend the back's not here for everybody watching this, okay? He's gone. But basically, here's what's happening. He's here. He's here, okay? When he comes back, Drew mollies him, okay? He reads 1 to 2. What we do is the same thing, but here's why I did what I do, okay? And one way's not better than the other. But when I got back and I had everybody here at the same level, okay, and he left me, I didn't have to have a lesser athlete try to molly out. Now, I've seen Drew center. He's got athletic center, so I'm okay. But sometimes we're not all blessed with all the pieces, right? But I could guarantee you I could get him back, and when that guy dropped, he could bang the piss out of him. And now that would push his eyes here. It's the same thing as a molly. When you get in depth, everybody's mollying, to me. You know what I mean, Drew? Everybody's playing a little deeper than normal. And that's why we get away with it. And that's why, you know, when I was at Mississippi College, we gave up 6 sacks on the whole season. We led the country in it. And it's just having a system the guys buy into. We're covering the same exact guy Drew is. It's just different ways to get there. You know, and if you get you guys to buy in and you got the coach that knows exactly what he wants and has the answers, I don't care how we do it. You know what I mean? I've had bad jobs. I'm sure there's some guys on this webinar right now that know bad means bad coaches, because no matter what the product is. So when we're playing with lesser and inferior players, I'm just big on covering them up, man. I just studied the NFL statistics, and it was just easier for me to slide him over and cover him up than instead of him coming out. And now look at all this might be the number 1 reason why you'll ever consider this. If I take the center out of the equation, that guard now has from right here to right here that guy can go here or there, and he's got him no matter where he goes. Okay, but if I take a vertical set, okay, and that's my cylinder, and that's my cylinder. Okay, I didn't leave my cylinder. My eyes are still here, and my cylinder, I wish I moved him just a little bit more. Okay, and I moved my cylinder. The only gap is right here, but that guy's going to come off late and get him. Okay, if he doesn't come, now that means the only other way they're going to blitz is to bring him with edge pressure. Well, that tackle says alert. Okay, and when he says alert, my guard now knows if he drops, hey, there's something crappy going on over here, so scan out here with me, and I'm going to slide over and take it. So I just like the idea. The thing that always told me, if I'm a linebacker and I see that big gap right there, I'm excited, right? That's when they get jumpy and they think they're going to wiggle around and get around them. Well, how do you think this guy feels, this guy right here, when he's got to cover from right here to right here? That guy has all that room to make that decision because I drop a guy out of the box. I know this. The crappy jobs like William Patterson, SBU, Southwest Baptist, even Oklahoma Baptist, okay? That's a lot of space for them guys. You know what I mean? So, so my idea was, if I can give the illusion that the gaps are smaller, because I vertical set and I stayed in my box, the gaps are smaller, it's not as inviting for these guys to think they can run around and do that. Now, he's got to cover over. He's got the tough job. And if he's in a shade, it's a little bit tougher. You know what I mean? But that's kind of how I looked at why to get back, because I wanted this guy not to have inviting looks, and I never wanted to put a guy on a massive island because, you know, I go to SMU all the time, and June Jones is a big molly guy, Drew. You would really appreciate June Jones. These guys, the first practice I went to, he slanted there, he slanted there, he slanted there, and he spiked all the way into A-gap, and he went there. And that tackle tried a quick set and had to ride it all the way down in there. I was like, daggum, that's a biatch right there. That was a tough thing. But if I did that and he spiked inside, guess what? I'm sitting in the hole for him. So there's a fine line. You know what I mean? I think it's all based on talent level. And and a lot of it, to me, Drew, is based on what you said. My O-line guy did this, and he can coach it. And I'm all for that. It's the guys that are starting out with a new line coach or a lot of rookies up here where they haven't had the time to invest like you need to really develop them. That's when I start looking at things like the vertical set. But if I have a good line coach, I would never change a thing with that guy.
Yeah. We also think.
I'll tell you what we did, Jack, that worked well is when we saw the 4-2, we would always check it back to Ram and Lion. So we would get the three-man slide. So the 4-2, because of its structure, regardless of call, we blocked it like Ram and Lion. The only time we really changed the protection was when there was a guy either on the center in a three-down front or a 4-1 look where that linebacker was in the center.
I'm with you on that. That's a good
and
thought.
That made it simpler for our kids.
Love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, a couple things here, coaches. So would you still use Rio Lobo for 3-step in trio? And then also, what about 5-step in doubles, dual?
Always use the Rio Lobo scheme when you're in any quick game, because your linemen cannot get depth on their set. They need to know it's catch and throw. So regardless of trio or dual, you're going to use your Rio Lobo for your quick game.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And hey, and all you asked in dual is, could you use Rio Lobo? You could, but why not take the full set and use Ron? It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The system's built to get the ball out on Rio Lobo. And Ron Lou, hey, I came from a system where it was all Ram Lion. Actually, I'm sorry, it was all Ron Lou.
Yeah, it was all Ron Lou.
Right. It was Ram Lion. The back had the dual read.
Right. Yeah.
It was Ram Lion. So, in this system, Noel's way more Ron Lou. He would rather – Noel's theory is this. He wants to know who's got the quarterback's backside. That's what it's all about. He wants the quarterback to know that your backside is covered. That's what all his protections do. And then he builds the sights and the huts up the front side.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls Exxon Chevron because he knows what they're doing and beats them at their own game.
Another coach.
Could you switch back to my screen real quick for just the three down front?
Yep, and then a coach just slip it in there while we're changing over. A coach asked if you guys could describe what Molly means.
Well, you see it here in the bottom left-hand corner. So you got a 3 down front. So the guy who's mollying is this right guard. So what he's got to do is he's got to get depth to block this edge blitzer if that guy were to blitz. So he's getting depth, but as he's getting depth, his eyes are on the inside linebacker. So he's going to start bailing out and getting depth as if he's going to block the outside backer blitz. But if the inside linebacker comes, he's going to stop and take him, all right? And we're going to take our chances. We're going to read hot off that outside backer. But as he's getting depth, if the inside backer gets depth, he now knows, okay, I don't have to worry about that guy. I'm free to get out on the outside now. So that's what we call a molly technique. In this situation, on the backside, we block it solid, which is an Okie call for us, meaning if I'm a guard with nobody on me, and I'm in solid protection, I'm going to stay in and block that linebacker. So if you think back to our Ram protections, the tailback was dual reading Mike to Will, and we had a 4-man slide. Well, now on Ron protection, because the quarterback's looking over here, looking to his right, we are going to keep this guard on the Mike linebacker or the backer over him, and now the tailback's got the outside backer. So there's no dual read away from where the quarterback's looking. And Jack made this point. The quarterback's backside is protected. All right, we've got a single read for the tailback. And now this guard, if the Mike were to drop out of there, what we generally tell him is help the guy who's got his hand between his legs. You know, the center just got done snapping the ball. So we'll usually tell him, you know, unless this kid's a stud, you're going to go and we're going to try to destroy the nose and double team him. Here's the dual read on the front side. It's coming from the side that the quarterback's looking. The right guard has the dual read or the Molly technique. Get depth, because if that linebacker drops, we're blocking the outside rusher. But as you get depth, your eyes are on the inside backer. If he comes, you're going to step back up inside. On a vertical set, Jack, I think you have both the tackle and the guard reading that inside backer. Is that correct?
Yes, because he has time, because he's backing away from the down lineman. So the tackle can actually sneak a peek on that Sam. But remember, if he's coming, if the Sam's coming, he's going to show, he's antsy too, you know what I mean? Very few of those guys are just settled in there and then come, you know what I mean? They let you know if you really read their body language. And as I'm backing up, I have time to look at him. If he doesn't come, I'm locked on that tackle. Boom.
So both guys' eyes are on the Sam. If the Sam comes, the guard picks him and the tackle stays on.
That's correct.
If the Sam drops,
then
they can fan it.
That's exactly what happens. That's exactly it, Drew.
Awesome. That's good.
Now, when we get here's a good one. When we do get the alert call, now they show us that front side pressure. All right, the tackle is covered and he's got an edge blitzer, so now he knows something's coming. He makes that alert call. The center is going to answer east-east to the right, so now it turns into a four-man slide because now we know we're getting pressure from this side. So we're going to turn it into a four-man slide, and now the back has to know when he gets an alert call that he now turns into a dual read. And he's going to be
ram
inside out. So it basically, the alert call turns it into ram protection because the pressure is probably coming from the side of the alert. We're rarely going to get pressure from both sides and inside linebacker blitz. That would probably have to be zero coverage, and our quarterback may check the quick game there to get the ball off right away, or he's going to know zero coverage. 1, 2, 3, I got to get the ball off.
Right.
So I got a little mistake here. This was a preseason slide. The center should made an east call because we're sliding to the right.
That's -1 point.
There we go, -1.
We're all going down. I'll tell you what, those guys, man, end zone, the protections you guys are putting in, this is spectacular, man. The changes that are coming are really good. Quick question for you guys though, from a coach. When you're installing, what protections are you starting with? Kind of give them a little progression.
Rio Lobo, Ron Lou, man. And then what you want to get to is empty protection. You want to get good at, if you get good at Ron Lou, you're going to get good at empty because it changes one guy. It's hot Ron, hot Lou. That's what R&L protection is. Get good at Rio Lobo, get good at Ron Lou, and as soon as you can, get into empty protection. Wouldn't you say, Drew?
Absolutely. When you think about it, we really only have two protections.
Yeah. And that's
everything else is either it's either the Rio Lobo family and you're blocking it that way, or it's the Ron and Lou protection. And those are the only two that we really have. Everything else is a variation of the Rio Lobo or the old Ram and Lion.
Yep. It's simplifying it down, man.
All right. The next question is, if a team is really working hard to blitz you at your back with an overload, can the quarterback check the coverage from Ron to Lou?
The problem becomes is you're balancing your routes now. You got to get your tailback releasing the other way. We tried that in one ball game, and it messes with your tailback's check release a little bit. It can be done. You just got to have an answer for your tailback.
Try to play faster, right, Drew? Because if they're really setting up, if they have that much time to really set up, I think we need to look at our operation time a little bit. Would you think maybe?
Absolutely. Get it moving quick.
Yeah. Okay, and how do you do that? You get into Rio Lobo, right? Start playing fast, start throwing some screens. To run Zorro, get him off balance where the defensive coordinator's not comfortable that he can get that in the game. I'm going to tell you this. I met Drew I met him before that, but Drew puts a lot of time in, and there's no secret why Rambo wins. And he took over a program, was good, and then It was down, and he rebuilt it into something great like it had been. There's no miracle cures in the system. The guys that really put time into this and know it, you know, Drew came up to Connecticut and watched us in camp. Then we went to his place and came to camp. Drew followed us. Drew was picking our brains all the time between drills, between practices. We were up in his film room. This didn't just happen for Drew. Drew put a lot of time in. And sometimes I think we think if we pay $1,000 for a system, I'm going to have answers. You have to invest your time and make your coaches. And I really believe this. When I was a high school coach, and I had really good success, guys. But here's the deal. I had 2 other guys that bought in just as hard as I did, and I let everybody else just coach technique, and us 3 guys dominated the practices every day because we cared and we put the work in. You got to have some guys following your lead that are excited about something different and trying to have answers. Drew was asking us questions that were ahead of where he was because he was already thinking, okay, if they do this, what's the answer? And then he went back and watched the film and he figured out what we were talking about. I'm pretty sure that's what happened a lot, didn't it, Drew?
Absolutely. And again, the system is a great, you know, the website is a great tool for you to use, but you gotta learn it. You know, you gotta put it into your brain and spending the time with it and drawing it up over and over again. I think the forums have been great. I've noticed how many guys are really, you know, jumping on those forums and asking great questions. And, you know, guys that, you know, are even new to the system are starting to contribute. And I think if you're not on the forums, it's a great way to think football and to stay active with it. And it certainly helped me a lot.
Hey, Doug and Nate, as we're wrapping this up here, I'm going to do a Ron Liu whiteboard or you know, presentation. So you guys, I'll finish this one off. I'll put all the clips in. I'll talk through it with the arrows. Doug, you'll have to help me set up so I can set up and talk into this thing. And we'll get that up really quick with the Ron Liu.
That'd be great. And Jack, if you could use the term for lesser inferior players, if you could just use the term Willie Pats, then we'll be good.
You got it.
That's going in the lexicon.
I take it those guys aren't clients right now, huh?
No.
Not yet. No, that would be awesome, Jack. Thanks for doing that for us. A time for one more?
Yeah, there is some time. We can finish out here on Ron Liu a little bit. I will say this. I'm going to throw this in for all the coaches on. We've had a couple questions. So as far as playing fast, I will tell you guys right now, not even going into the system content, if you go into the eClinic schedule right now and you go back to, I would go at it this way, Coach Mazzone on 5-1 talk quick game, and then I would drop back to tempo and sideline communication and then work your way up through most of those. I'm going to tell you right now, we've had 5 eClinics where we've had tremendous presentations on speed and just playing quicker, utilizing the system to play fast. And then for your offensive line to keep up, if you go back into the system content and you go into the position techniques and go to O-line fundamentals, and at that point stage, you guys really learn the vertical set techniques. I think there's 5 pieces that Coach has done for us in the last 2-3 months. So if you guys can get good at practicing those and put them in place, I'll guarantee you'll play a lot faster. A lot faster.
Hey, let's go ahead and wrap up tonight. This has been really, really good. And Jack's going to do the Ron Liu thing, and I know we'll probably have Drew on another time.